Today, we're going to compare the cameras on an iPhone 15 Pro Max versus the Pixel 9 Pro XL. Let's start with the front-facing camera since that's one of the biggest changes on the Pixel 9 Pro, and I think this may be one of the best reasons to get a Pixel 9 now. The first thing you notice is how wide the camera is, so it's really good for taking group selfies or just selfies alone where it doesn't feel like it's all in your face, especially if you are a shorter person with short arms. And now you no longer have to flip the phone around to use the ultra wide. You can most likely get away with the front-facing camera. Now for the back cameras for both phones, the ultra wide, the 1x, and the 5x, which are the main three camera lenses, they all look very good. It's just that the colors are a little bit different on both. In my eyes, the iPhone seems to lean towards a bit more the yellowish hue side, where on the Pixel 9 Pro, it's still pretty heavy on the white balancing. So even though the white on the plane is somewhat yellow from the sun, the iPhone will probably get closer to that result versus the Pixel where it's just gonna make it white. And you also get a max zoom of 30x, which is a bit more reach than the iPhone, and sometimes it looks a bit better and sometimes it doesn't. I feel like it really depends on the software. Now for portrait mode on a Pixel, you got 1.5x and 2x as options, and it's not using the telephoto lens, so you don't get that farther reach like the 5x on the iPhone. Usually when the new Pixels come out, the portrait mode cutout isn't the best, and you can really tell by looking at the edge of the glasses. But throughout the year, you will get software updates which will improve on this, so this is what I'm not too worried about. It's kind of like I would expect it from the initial launcher of the Pixel. But overall, as a default 1.5x, it looks really nice and the background is pretty compressed too. So I never had a big issue with the portrait mode on a Pixel. It's more of like it feels a bit more limiting after using other phones because it doesn't have that many focal length options. Now for low light, the first thing I saw was the Pixel seems to have more of the darker shadows, and on iPhone, it feels like the shadows are lifted. In general, maybe people will lean towards the iPhone just because they would rather see the whole image easily or more exposed, but some people might like that darker look, so it all depends on personal preference. We know that the Pixel 9 Pro now has a new processor, and it does make a difference this year. While I'm taking pictures, I noticed that it's a lot smoother. I don't see dropped frames when I'm panning around, which makes the whole camera experience a lot better. And I just want to mention this in this video since I've already compared the Pixel 9 Pro to the 8 Pro, and that's one thing that stood out to me. Now for video, there are some differences. I think that the Pixel seems to be a little bit more sharper or kind of over processed, whereas on iPhone it's a bit more of that natural softer look. But it's still good enough for the casual person who just want to capture their memories. It still looks good, and I think there's nothing wrong with it. You also get the 5x as well, which is pretty nice to have, especially now having all three cameras on a smaller size Pixel, which is something I've always wanted because I like the size of the 8, but I didn't really want to use it because I wanted all three cameras, so I have to lean towards the 8 Pro. And for video, the white balancing is still pretty hefty on the Pixel where it's really strong with the whites, but now looking back at it, I'm leaning towards the whiter look on a Pixel just because I know the walls are white, so it does make sense for it to show white, knowing that when I'm walking through it in person, it's just slightly yellow. It's the same with this shot too, where the outside seems to be more normal looking on a Pixel where I feel like on the iPhone, the ground just looks too green to me, and even with the yellow vehicle, when I imagine it, the one closest to it is the Pixel and not the iPhone since it looks a little bit, again, too greenish. And that is the comparison between these two phones, and I know the Pixel will get better throughout the year because of software updates. So yeah, let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.